Welcome back to the show. And that was definitely an inspirational topic. Unfortunately, the signal wasn't that great. As we know, Eldorado Park seems to be having quite bad signal. So I'm hoping that we got some essence and substance out of what Genevieve Ali is doing out there. Talking about phenomenal people doing, different things and bridging those gaps. And that's what it's about today. I mean, the show is all about people just doing such phenomenal work in their own way. And those little things are making such big differences. And today we're going to be speaking to a young gentleman who's been doing just that. His name is Dario Liana. He's 15 years of age, and he's going to explain to us his situation and experience after seeing a child on the street with no shoes and sore looking feet, which motivated him to start the Soul to Soul Foundation, an organization that has collected almost 185,000 pairs. I'm going to repeat that: 185,000 pairs of shoes to the disadvantaged. A very good morning to you, and thank you so much. What an absolute pleasure for joining me on the show this morning. Dario, do we have you on the line there? Okay, so while we're getting Dario on the line, I just, want to tell you, like, he literally started this initiative 5 years ago. And within the first 3 months of collecting, he had 6,000 pairs of shoes for charity. And today, as I said, and I repeated it because I'm actually blown away by the amount that he's collected: 185,000 pairs of shoes for the disadvantaged, which I think is absolutely phenomenal. Really making a difference. And especially on a day like today, is when we think about those underprivileged people walking out in the streets barefoot and this bitter cold. Dario, you're back. We seem to be having you on the line. Could you possibly? There we go. You're unmuted. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to have you joining me this morning to be able to talk about something so inspirational. Yet, we drive every single day and on the road and we go, oh dear, but not realizing what it is that we really need to do. And I think you've brought attention to that. So, talk to us a little bit about yourself before we go into the actual topic.
So, as you said, my name's Dario Gavea, and I'm just a regular grade nine, and I love doing sports and a whole bunch of activities. Yeah, and I started an initiative called Soul to Soul.
Yeah, but I think it's not just about you're just a young 15-year-old. I think you're an inspirational 15-year-old going out there, making a serious difference. A lot of the times, I think what happens is we don't realize what it is that we need to do. And this is what we're talking about on the show this morning, is about bridging those gaps. Defining the needs of the communities and the underprivileged and the less fortunate. And I think you've done that in an absolutely amazing way. Wow, you've blown me away when I just read this out. But reading your, resume yesterday, I was totally blown away to think at the age of 15 what you can do, and even afraid to ask what we can see going forward because it sounds like there's a lot more coming. Talk to us about your initiative. I know you've seen children on the street, not having those shoes, and as we know today, it's a bitter cold day. So let's talk about the story.
So, my initiative started when I was 9 years old, and I was driving with my mom, and we stopped at a robot, and I saw this boy. He was barefoot, his feet were terribly worn and cut, and I remember I had a brand new pair of Green Cross school shoes, which I gave to him because I really felt bad. And then once I gave him the pair of shoes, I realized the reward in giving. It's much greater than taking. So that's when I started an initiative called Soul to Soul, where I wrote a letter to all of my friends, pleading them and asking them if they could help me collect 1,000 pairs of shoes. And within 2 weeks, I remember collecting 1,000 pairs of shoes. And that's when we realized that where can I stop? I can't stop now. So we just carried on. And today, Soul to Soul's on 185,000 pairs of shoes.
I find that absolutely phenomenal. Dario, but before we carry on, I'm going to ask you to switch off any other devices that you have on because we seem to be having a resident echo. Um, Coming back, let's talk about Soul to Soul. It's an amazing initiative, And I think what we need to talk about is how do we get other young people to understand the importance. You look at, I think with us, we tend to take a lot of things for granted as individuals, not realizing we have that many pairs of shoes at home, and sometimes we're spoilt for choice, yet not realizing that there's a person out there in the field, on the streets, that one pair of shoe is going to make such a huge difference in their lives. And I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, so we live in a society where many people, yes, we are blessed, and I'm pretty sure people do recognize that. But we do have people in our community that don't recognize that we are very privileged. And
Mm.
I personally think that we should share those blessings and this privilege that we have to everybody. So that's also one of the reasons why I started as well. So, yeah.
And I so agree with you. It's about taking those blessings, as we said. We seem to be having an echo again. Do we have another device on somewhere?
No, sorry.
Okay, we'll just ask technical to check on that. As I was saying, it's something. It's so interesting because I always say, we look at people out there, and as you were saying, it's an amazing blessing, to be able to have what we have. But taking those blessings and sharing it, is what gives us the essence of life. Is what gives us our rewards and our fulfillment and our contentment. And being 15 years of age and thinking about something as important as this, has really got me going in many directions. So let's talk about your foundation. How many of you are on the foundation? Which communities do you go out in, and how do you define the needs?
So it's the people that run my foundation with me is my sister Liana. She's a really big help to me. She's always been there supporting, and I'm really thankful for that. And also my parents. My parents have always been there with me through all the choices I've made. So my dad helps sorting and packing shoes. My mom also does this. She arranges a lot of things as well. And when we go about giving to communities, we don't necessarily like on an in detailed trip to see who's less fortunate and things like that. Mainly people ask us, or we would generously
Mm,
give to them. So, for example, the Alberton community, all the squatter camps and informal settlements there, we'd go and hand out shoes.
mm. Okay, so how do you actually get the funds to be able to go out and do this? Because I mean, as we know, you have to go and buy those shoes, or are you taking shoes that you have and then going to hand it out?
So we're taking shoes that we have. So we don't buy shoes. We ask our community to donate. So that's where we work hand in hand with like community hours and volunteers because they give us shoes. We rely basically on the public to give us shoes.
Right. So what is happening is you're creating an awareness that way, which I think is great because what happens is once you go out into communities, you're making them understand that there's a defined need, not just only in their community, but beyond that, and that they need to go out there and support you with an initiative like this that could change a person's life. I mean, I was driving down to the studio earlier and I looked at the amount of people sitting on the street, and I felt so heartbroken because you look at them and they're sitting on the street and it's freezing cold out there, so that just that one pair of shoe is going to make such a difference to that particular person. And I think, we need to make our viewers understand that this is what they need to do, is join you on this appeal to be able to take whatever shoes they have, or even if they'd like to buy a new pair of shoes, as join you on this initiative and go out there, even if it's not just with your soul to soul foundation, but just start it in should we say in go start it and take it into a domino effect, where from getting inspired by what you're doing, is they also start joining you and doing what you're doing out there in their communities. And now, as I say, we always believe in the fact that charity begins at home. So why not start in your own community and say, what is it that, where can I go and give this, and who is it that really needs it out there?
So I agree very much so. You can start this in your own community. There's something that I like to say is you're never too young to make a difference, no matter what age. I mean, I take myself for an example. I started when I was 9 years old. That
Wow.
means anybody can do it. So I believe that there's room that everyone can help in their own community in any way.
And what sort of backup have you been getting? I mean, to get 185,000 of pairs of shoes getting handed out says a lot.
So yes, 185,000 pairs of shoes is a lot, but that's mainly to our community. So our community helps us through and through with everything. So I live in a complex, and let's say I need 12 brand new school shoes desperately. I would contact
Mm,
those people in my state and my community to help me.
mm, mm. You haven't just stopped there. I mean, we know that your mom has also played an integral role in helping you besides your sister, where recently you sent shoes to the KZN flood victims. And you know, supplied some of them with those pairs of shoes as well. I think that's just absolutely amazing because, you know, as we know, they were left literally with nothing, and just starting off with a pair of shoes helps in so many directions because, you know, if we looked at those pictures on the different social media sites and television and things like that, we can only understand what it meant to have that pair of shoes to be able to just warm up in some way, because I mean it was really dire out there. Dario, are you still on the line? Okay, we seem to have lost Dario there. The signal seems to be quite bad today, and I think, maybe allocate it and attribute it to the weather because I'm looking out the window there and it's rather windy and chilly out there. But just to bring you up to taps with Dario, if we while we're trying to get him on the line again, you know, as I said, his mom has played an integral role, and this is what it's about: is parents also getting involved with what their kids are doing to be able to make those differences in people's lives. There we're having back on the line. Dario, we're
Sorry
just
about
talking
that.
about, you know, your mom playing an integral role, and I was saying it's important for parents to join, you know, their children on these particular drives to be able to move this forward. Um, and getting that type of, should we say, support and that little spinal cord from your parents has allowed you to be able to reach that many people and give out that many pairs, because, you know, coming together, I always say unity brings a lot more and gives a lot more. So we united we stand. So we're creating that ubuntu in South Africa just through you, with a 15-year-old going out and just doing so much. I know you've launched a winter shoe drive in the hopes of collecting enough to supply all the organizations in need. How has that been going?
It's been surprisingly very good. People have been very generous through this winter period because I'm pretty sure they can also understand that the struggles of winter is very real. It's cold, and we live in houses or flats or apartments, and even then, still with a roof over our heads, which we're very blessed to have, it is still very cold. So we've collected quite a few shoes for the winter drive, slippers, boots, everything.
Mm-mm. Tell us, where would you like to see your organization heading? To me, I would say you've done milestones already in what you're doing right now. But would you like to get other schools and other young people involved in what you're doing besides just doing it in your community? I mean, going out to KZN said a lot to me. So it goes to show that this is a drive that you would like to, of course, take further. But we're going to go for a quick break. Think about the question I asked, and then we can carry on with it.
Humanity sets the agenda. Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
As some look forward to the blessings and beauty of winter, the less fortunate in South Africa are preparing for the harsh realities that this season may bring. Africa Muslims agencies on the ground distributing blankets, clothing, and other essentials to thousands across the country. Sponsor a winter warmth pack for 280 Rand. Call Africa Muslims Agency now on 011 834 8685. Spread warmth this winter with Africa Muslims Agency.
You know, it's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying, or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Once again, Maulana Timol will be taking a trip abroad for Kurbani. Many people in the villages live well below the poverty line and only eat meat on the days of Eid al-Adha. Support this cause at 1,820 Rand for 7 shares or 260 Rand per share. Contact Maulana Timol, Maulana Sajjad, Maulana Hamad or Maulana Abbad on 011 852 6324 or 8584 or 8538 or 072 299 9268. All slaughtering will be supervised by a team of foreign and local ulama. Visit www.operationqurbani.org.za.
Give charity without delay, for it stands in the way of calamities. For child-headed households in Bloemendal in the Eastern Cape, the daily diet consists of white bread and a carton of cheap juice or sugar water, known locally as the poppy water diet. Make a difference to that one child or family. The Al-Fida Foundation has over the past 13 years worked on the ground and gathered the largest database in the Eastern Cape region of Muslim zakah recipients. Phone our offices at 041 484 1288 or visit our website at www.alfida.co.za. The Al-Fida Foundation, your social investment partner in the Eastern Cape.
Love is behind all the greatest stories of our lives. And the greatest love of all is Allah's. The first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah are the days most loved by Allah. So give Qurbani in 30 countries worldwide. Give Qurbani. Give love with Islamic Relief.
Something fresh. Listen to Salam Media.
Welcome back, and you are tuned into the mid-morning show with myself, Nafisa Dango, and we're talking about bridging the gaps and giving back. Welcome back to the show, Dario. Before we left, I spoke about you going out and creating awareness, and I am aware of the fact that you have been visiting surrounding schools to give motivational talks and inspire others to take up the cause.
Yes, so we have been giving motivational speeches and talks to many different schools. We even did a speech at All Saints Church in Ballito, Durban, basically. So I would like Soul to Soul to grow all around Gauteng, basically, and become like a big community center type of thing, a big community that can help everybody.
I think you have an amazing vision. And as I said earlier, it's about going from community to community. And that's exactly what you're doing, is visiting the surrounding schools. And I think we need to also understand that young people are the future leaders of our country. And people like yourselves are going to be those role models and those spinal cords in the future to be able to make people understand on a general consensus how important it is to be able to give something as simple as a shoe.
Yes, so we as a modern day community need to realize that, as you say, we are very privileged and that we need to help others as much as we possibly can.
Yes. And I think that's what it's about. It's amazing to see a family like yourself being so selfless and going out there from yourself to your mom to your sister. And I'm sure the rest of your family gets involved in it as well. Um, what would you like to see other young people doing going to the future? And I think also one of them would be is to join Soul to Soul in going out there and creating that Ubuntu and changing South Africa just through a shoe.
Yeah, so I would like to see the younger community come and help and stand out and be inspired by not only me, but by other people as well, through many different things. So I would like the younger community to realize how blessed all of us are, and we can all get together and help others.
Now, what I think is really interesting is that, being 15 years of age, what made you realize that, doing this type of NPO work, what does it mean for you? How important is it for you to be able to do what you're doing? What sort of fulfillment does it give you?
It gives me a great amount of joy. Like it makes you feel better every time I hand out a pair of shoes to a less fortunate person. I feel like really blessed and privileged because as a young adult, you get to see these some things can scare you, I guess. You get to see very different
Mm,
things and some harsh things that life can expose to
most
people.
definitely. What would you like other young people to know?
I would like you're never too young to make a difference, and one man's trash is another man's treasure.
You couldn't have said that better. I want to thank you so much for joining us on the show. It's been such an inspiration to see a young person like yourself going out there and doing a phenomenal thing. I mean, 185,000 pairs of shoes says a lot on its own. So, we want to commend you from the Salam Media team for being so young and yet being so inspirational and being a role model to all the other young people out there to be able to entice them into saying, let's start giving back because that's what it's about. It's about giving back, creating that Ubuntu and creating that support structure amongst each other to be able to help each other grow. And just one pair of shoes, and I think people don't understand. I keep on repeating this because people don't understand the importance of what that means. That one pair of shoes is going to make you walk your
It
success
will
to
go
the
a long way.
future. That's
Yes,
what it's
it
going
does
to
go
do.
a long
That's the way I see it, is because if you give a person a pair of shoes, they're going to be able to walk that walk and talk that talk and go out and give them that second chance to say, this person has given me this. I can now take it and go and try and aspire to what I want to do in my life just with one pair of shoes. Because as we know, when a person's barefoot and they're cold, they focus, their mindset, everything changes. So I think we need to understand the importance of that. And this is the reason why we brought you on air today, was just to make people understand that a little goes a long way.
Yes, it really does. It really does.
So thank you so much. Once again, our heartfelt congratulations from the Solar Media team for all the work that you've done thus far. And we're definitely going to be keeping our eye on you to see what you're doing next and how much further you're going. So this is not the end of this journey. We are going to be following your journey to see how much more you have been doing and maybe enticing us also to get into our communities to be able to change those things. So thank you so much for joining us. You've been a true inspiration. And to yourself and your mom and your family, once again, congratulations. Keep it going. You are a true inspiration to all South Africans.
We'll do so. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's been an absolute pleasure. You do take care and stay blessed.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. That was Dario Govea giving us his take of the Soul to Soul Foundation. And just imagine one pair of shoes going such a long way so we can help people walk the walk. We're going to go for a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be back with you in a sec.